Oh, oops. Okay, we're back to the how. The how is really your rising action, your climax, and your falling action. This is how the story evolves, how the story develops, where you're going to take the story, what the characters are going to do, how you're going to blend that timeline in to make all of it come together and all of it gel. There's a lot of information here that we're going to unfold. We're going to take it. You love the shirt. Yeah, my writing lady shirt. Thank you. Um, we're going to take our time a little bit with this because I really want to open this up so you could kind of see how I go about pulling things out and make the story workable. The thing about fiction is that it has to be a little bit unbelievable. If it's not unbelievable, it takes part of the fun out of reading. I hate to read a story when I know what's going to happen. It's kind of like watching a movie and you see the lighting and you see what the director is not telling you. It's like when you're watching a horror movie and there's a dark corner, you know some creepy crap is going to jump out of that dark corner, and you already know that just by the lighting. And authors can kind of give you that kind of information as well with certain wording and certain phrasing. And you want it to be able to suspend belief just a little bit. Now, with a space story like this one, I have to really look at what's plausible, what's feasible, what's workable, and what's not. Okay, if you pull up the slide and you could possibly do split screens. Um, Kim said it really irritates her when when a reader says that it was not believable. Um, I once heard a quote from Wynton Marsalis. He says that he was talking about rap, and he says that's not music to him. He said that's not the music that he knows. Those are not the words that speak to him. When I read something and a reader says that it wasn't believable, for them it may not be. Okay. If you've got somebody with red bottom shoes that cost $800 and they're carrying a $3,000 purse, driving a $200,000 car and stripping, you're like, well, that's not quite believable unless she's, dating the guy that actually owns the club and all those things belong to him and he gives her all of those gifts. If it's not their life, then to them, it's not believable. If you have a Black woman that's that successful and got all of these things going on, if they haven't met anybody like that, to them, it's not believable. So I can understand that because I get readers that say, well, I didn't like your character. Okay, you didn't have to. You were supposed to be into him. Why are you focusing so much on her? I know, right? Okay. Anyway, let's look at the how. In order for the story to be credible and believable, Frasiga creates a replica of Risa on Earth as he takes the real Risa to his home planet. But first, he has to change her humanly form in order for her to breathe his air, eat his food, and be able to bear his seed. Did you get all that? So, in order for her to do for him what he needs her to do, which is help him repopulate his planet, he has to make some modifications to her body, okay? Because she's got to be able to breathe his air. Okay, so the way that I looked at it in my rising action, getting to my climax, is that what happens to between Risa, Frasiga in that first month? For Risa, her body is transformed. She refuses to speak to him, even though there are translators on board, and she makes friends with another captive. She and Kala, that's the other captive, plot to get free. Now, in that same month, Frasiga tries to teach her his language. He brings her treats he took from Earth, attempts to woo her, allows her time with Kala so she won't be lonely. Now, we've got Frasiga and Risa on the ship. Okay, so there are two characters. Now I just told you about a third, Kala, Kala Liu. Okay, I was really thinking Galileo. Yeah, so I kind of played on that. Okay, but on top of Risa Forsiga and Kala, there's also that comedic relief. His name is Black Man. Okay, basically black man. Okay, he's Forsiga's co-pilot. He's the cook. He's the comedic relief. He's older. He's wiser, and he's not always helpful. Okay, so we also have Kala. Kala is a woman that he took from a nearby planet. She's got to be born again almost. Basically, yeah, because she has to get to the point to where when he does reach his planet, she has to be able to breathe their atmosphere. It bugs the crap out of me on Star Trek when they get off the ship and they just walk onto the planet with nothing over their faces to cover. I've only seen one episode of Star Trek when Geordi and all of them got infected with like the shadow people and they were turning into shadows. But that's the thing that you really have to think about when you're writing some of those kind of stories, especially when you're dealing with paranormal. I still don't understand the whole shape shifting thing with the werewolf. He's a big dog. Don't nobody want to have sex with no dog. I'm sorry, maybe some people do. But for me, I don't find it to be romantic. And now they got this whole dragon thing. My best bud, she writes about dragon shifters. I'm like, he's a big lizard. Okay. Oh, sorry, I digressed. All right. Oh, okay, so we'll get back to Kala. Okay, Kala is another captive from a distant planet. Her planet is Calexia Prime. Her brother, Tau, is searching for his abducted sister. She also has a secret. She gets a message to her brother through Blanc, who doesn't realize he aided in her plan. So all of this is happening in the first month. This is all of that rising action. This is all of that tension that we're building until we get to the climax. And there we are. She's been on this ship for about 30 days. She doesn't want to talk to him. He's transforming her body, and everything about her is starting to change a little bit. And she's not happy. So I'm going to start posting some pictures of her body changing as well. Okay, so while I'm doing that, do you have any questions so far? I know I started to ramble when I got onto the shapeshifters and all of that stuff, but I'm posting a picture of her body in transformation. And there it is. And then this is how she's going to end up looking once he's done with her. Okay, come on. And let me post a photo of Kala. And I don't have a picture of Black Man. Okay. So you got all of that so far? And that's what you mean by people reading sci-fi and saying it's unbelievable and suspending reality. Okay, so let's go back to the climax of the story. Okay. So month 2, she awakes and the ship is under attack. And in order to survive, she has to help Forsiga. So now they're no longer enemies, but they're working together. Now in month 2, Forsiga, he is injured in the battle with Tao Lu. He earns Risa respect during the fight, and he begins to understand what it means to be human and her humanness. Okay. Black Man also aids in getting the ship back from Kala and from Tau, and they suggest that they leave Kala on a space station for her brother to pick her up there. That way, she's off the ship. She's no longer making problems. Now, Kala has a secret of her own. Her brother arrives at the space station, but she's hurt. She's also in labor. I know, right? She's carrying her brother's child. It's common on their planet. But now that she's hurt, he's too far away from Calexia Prime, and he needs Forsiga's help. So now we're at that climax. Ooh, this story's getting good, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, Sierra, I see you're back with us. So we're covering the how right now. We covered the who, the what, the where, and we're on the how. This is all of your rising action and your climax in the story. I posted some photos of her transformation, of him making her body be able to breathe on his ship and breathe his air and all of that stuff. And he did keep some human little treats and things so that she would have some of her own food. Simone says, say what? What, with Calla being pregnant by her brother? That's an important detail, and I'm going to tell you why in a little bit. But on her planet, that may be a common thing. I mean, in the 17 and 1600s, it was no big deal for the royals to marry their own cousins and stuff. You know, that's why a lot of them have bad teeth. But that was a common thing because even Charles and Di were cousins, second cousins, but they were in fact cousins. Yes, that. But that's an important detail, okay? So do we have any questions on the how? I know that's a lot of information, but we know everything that happens in month one because the whole story takes place over a 2-month period of time. And we're right at 9:30, and I timed this workshop for 2 hours. So are we good? Any more questions? Because if not, I'm going to close this and we're going to go on to the next section. Okay. All right, we're good? The Queen and Philip are cousins, so yes, I understand. Yeah. So, all right. So we're done with the how. We need to get to the why. Okay? Be back with you in a moment.